I used to believe marriage was unbreakable. That when you gave someone your heart, your loyalty, and your years, they would never turn cold against you. I thought love was enough to hold two people together, no matter what storms came. And maybe that's why what I'm about to tell you cut me so deep. Because it wasn't a storm that tore us apart. It was silence, neglect, and finally, one sentence that shattered everything I thought I knew. I never imagined that the simple act of bringing my wife flowers would break me more than any betrayal ever could. When we first got married, I was the kind of man who noticed the small things. The way her face lit up when I held her hand in public. The way she laughed when I surprised her with her favorite chocolate. I wasn't rich, I wasn't flashy, but I gave her my heart, fully and without hesitation. But somewhere along the years something shifted. At first it was small. Dinners where she stared at her phone more than at me. Conversations where my words fell flat against her silence. I told myself it was stress, work, or maybe just a rough patch. But slowly, the distance between us grew so wide. I started to feel like a stranger in my own home. She stopped looking at me the way she once did. She stopped saying thank you, or I love you. And I kept trying to fill the void with gestures, hoping she would remember who we used to be. But I thought maybe, just maybe, if I reminded her of us, she would remember the love we once had. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just gotten off work. I drove past a little flower shop we used to go to when we were dating. Without thinking, I pulled over. I walked inside and smelled that familiar mix of roses and lilies. I asked the florist for her favorite red roses. I remember holding them in my hands, feeling nervous, almost like I was a young man about to ask his crush out again. On the way home, I rehearsed in my head what I'd say. Something simple, something from the heart. Maybe, I just wanted to remind you that I love you. Or, I know things have been hard, but I believe in us. I walked through the front door, flowers in hand, heart in my throat. She was in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone. I smiled, holding the bouquet out like it was a gift from my soul. "These are for you," I said softly. She didn't even look up at first. And when she finally did, it wasn't joy or surprise, or even mild appreciation I saw in her eyes. It was disgust. Her words will haunt me until the day I die. It would be better if you disappeared. In that moment, it felt like I had died. I stood there frozen, my hands trembling as I held the flowers. I thought I misheard her. My ears rang, my heart pounded, and I asked, "What did you say?" She repeated it. Louder this time. "You heard me. It would be better if you just disappeared. I don't want this. I don't want you." I don't know if you've ever had someone rip your soul out with words, but I swear I felt my chest cave in. I placed the flowers on the counter, but she brushed them aside like trash. That was the moment I realized I was invisible to the woman I loved. And the worst part was, she wasn't finished breaking me. After that day, the humiliation didn't stop. She ignored me in front of friends, rolled her eyes when I tried to speak, and treated me like an unwanted guest in my own house. At family dinners, she spoke to everyone but me. When people asked how we were doing, she laughed bitterly and said, "We're surviving." Each word was a knife. Each silence a grave. I went to bed at night staring at the ceiling, wondering what I did wrong. Was I not enough? Was I boring? Was love not enough? Her rejection echoed in my head. "It would be better if you disappeared." And then, when I thought I couldn't take any more, life gave me an answer I never expected. One evening, I stayed late at work. A colleague, a woman who barely knew me, noticed I looked drained. She asked if I was okay. For a second, I almost brushed it off, but something in her tone. It wasn't pity. It was genuine concern. I shrugged and said, "Rough day." She smiled gently and said, "Well, for what it's worth, you always brighten the room when you're here." That one sentence hit me harder than I expected. It was the first kind word I'd heard in months. And it came not from my wife, but from someone who owed me nothing. It made me realize something terrifying. My worth wasn't gone. It wasn't lost. It was just buried under her coldness. Her rejection no longer defined me. And for the first time, I started to see the truth. I went home that night, and for the first time, I didn't try to talk to her. I didn't beg for attention. I didn't force a smile. I sat quietly, thinking about my life, my years, my dignity. The next morning, I packed a suitcase. She watched me from the couch, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Where are you going?" she asked. I looked at her calmly and said, "You told me it would be better if I disappeared. So I will." Her face shifted. First shock, then anger, then something that looked like fear. She didn't expect me to actually leave. But I did. I walked out that door with nothing but my suitcase and my pride. And for the first time in years I felt free. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I loved her once with everything I had. But love without respect is a prison. And I refused to be her prisoner anymore. She told me to disappear. So I did. But what she never expected was that my absence would be the one thing she couldn't live with. And that's when I realized I was never the one who should have disappeared. It was her love that had vanished long ago.